Hi everyone, it's Joey Remenyi from seekingbalance.com.au. I am here to share a case study with you. Calling in from Scotland, from the UK, is Billy. Welcome to the call, Billy. Thank you for your
Hello, Joy.
time. Yeah,
Yeah, you're welcome.
really nice to connect with you. So just in a nutshell, Billy had a knock, got some vertigo, also discovered tinnitus, and of the two, tinnitus was much more distressing, and that was really what brought Billy to the Rocksteady community. So today we're going to talk a little bit about how Billy navigated the distress and his version of using neuroplasticity for healing. So after that very short, quick introduction to our community, Billy, do you want to tell us a little bit about what got you into the Rocksteady program, and what was that first module like for you, if you can remember the initial beginnings?
Okay. Well, I think really it was desperation.
Mm.
I went on, I'd done that kind of classic onto the internet with tinnitus and suddenly discovered horror story after horror story. And I realized that I'm in trouble and my life's never going to be the same again. You know, and I went from listening to one person to another person to buying, a few different books and things like that. And of course, my doctor as well telling me there was nothing she could do about it and things like that. And I just panicked for about a year. And then I came across a couple of your videos on YouTube. And
Mm.
suddenly it really was, I thought, oh, right, okay, I understand this. I really
Mm.
do. Because I'd suffered, I have been prone to having anxiety occasionally, like most people. And I came across someone called Claire Weeks,
Mm.
doctor from, I think she was practicing in the 50s, 60s, and things. And so I was quite familiar with some of her work. And I thought, oh, this is so I kind of there was I felt like there was a similarity in a way,
Mm-hmm.
worlds apart, but the idea that you can I can take control and control what's actually happening with my symptoms, etc.
Mm.
I don't need to feel this way, you
Mm-hmm.
know, allow time to pass. And it was the acceptance really. And then of course I'd never heard of neuroplasticity,
Mm-hmm.
and and just the way you write about it and things like that, I could understand it.
Mm-hmm.
um, and yeah, I mean, it basically was from there. And module one was just for me, it was amazing. I felt right away that I actually had help. I really
Yeah.
felt for the first time, I'm here. I understand, which was important. It wasn't just empty words. It was words
Mm.
that meant something, and they meant something to me because of
Mm.
already having a kind of understanding of what was happening to me, anxiety in the past and things like that.
Mm.
And it just all came together. And I mean, I'm probably going on a bit now, but I remember the first thing I actually done when I was on module one is I thought to myself, you know, I was listening to yourself, and I thought, why am I going to bed at night and listening to you know sounds, uh, frequency healing and all these sorts of things to try and mask the tinnitus?
Mm.
So what I done was I just suddenly thought, right, that's enough. Why am I listening to two sounds? Why can't I just listen to the tinnitus and call
Yeah.
that a lovely sound? So I thought to myself, this is crazy. I'm just making a mess in my head. So I stopped listening to frequency healing music and things like that.
Mm.
And right away, I had a falling. That was my first falling away, and it was while doing module one. Suddenly, the tinnitus just dipped down, and it's never ever went back to that level. I have to say.
Mm.
Um, I mean, it was really raging, and it just quieted. And I thought, oh, this is incredible. I can actually do something about this. I can change what's going on in my body.
It sounds like very quickly you got access to influencing that volume switch, which a lot of people listening will be, how did you do that? And it
Yeah,
sounds to me that you made a decision to change your relationship to the tinnitus. So rather than try and get rid
absolutely.
of it, try and mask it, which is the resistance and the fear and that ongoing
Mm.
emotional loading, you sort of let go of the masks and you let go of that grappling and gripping and that effort. And you went, well, the tinnitus is here. Why don't I just change my relationship to it and allow that to be the noise that sings me to sleep?
Yeah,
So, and,
yeah.
and we can call that reframing. It's about changing our relationship to exactly the same stimulus, and that is a really big part of healing. Changes how the brain biochemically releases the
Yeah.
neurotransmitters, and the whole experience changes.
Mm. It was incredible for me, because I really thought that was it. I thought I was going to have this for, forever.
Mm,
And the crazy thing was, I've had tinnitus in the past, but I had no idea what it was. I had no idea that it could be a serious condition. Um, I used to play guitar and sing in rock bands and things like that. I spent, you know, 20 years playing gigs, rehearsing and things like that. Very loud as well, full on 100-watt Marshall stacks type thing. And we'd finish a rehearsal, and every time I'd have a buzz in my head,
mm,
in my ears, I should say, a hiss. Never bothered me in the slightest. That would be there for maybe 2 hours, maybe three, maybe the whole night, and it was gone. You
mm.
know, no issues at all. No hearing damage. I've had my ears tested. They're perfect. But all of a sudden, I get this. This is what I've realized. Even now, I mean, I still have tinnitus occasionally. It's not like what it was by any means.
Mm,
I mean, I
mm,
know
mm.
I'm back to now living my life, which is incredible.
And
Um,
you're
I
probably back to the normal comings and goings of sounds rather than the really intrusive sounds. So,
Yes, that's it. And I still, what I find incredible now is, and why I know I am the actual issue to my healing now, and that's thanks to yourself. Um, I'm very aware it's how if I respond poorly, if I wake up in the morning
mm,
and have a hiss, and if I almost say, "Oh, hello, little busy friend, how are you today? Hey,"
mm,
she goes away.
mm,
It's almost like she's, okay, I'm here. Bye.
mm-hmm,
Yeah, I'll
mm-hmm.
see you later, sort of thing. But if I respond to that, even not in fear, well, it is fear, but if I respond to that in even agitation of like, oh,
I was about to say annoyance. Annoyance is a really big
annoyance is the
one.
word.
Yep.
Yes, because that's what it came from me. I don't really have that huge fearful response anymore. I just have occasionally, well, probably more than occasionally, but I'm still working on that. I have that annoyance,
Mm-hmm,
you know,
mm-hmm,
and but I've realized that if I don't have that annoyance, I don't have tinnitus. So the
mm-hmm.
annoyance, a tinnitus and annoyance now are just one. And
Can
and
I?
I've realized now that I can take myself aside, and I've learned how to self heal through Rocksteady. And I used to, and tapping is something I used to do a lot, which
Mm,
I really used to enjoy. I don't do it so much now, but I've changed a lot now because this has been over quite some time now.
you've
Um,
you've built your new normal. You're a new person.
yeah, yeah, I suppose so. And I did actually buy your audiobook,
Mm-hmm,
which was incredible. And when I walked the dog
mm-hmm,
down to the coast, I've got it in my headphones, and
mm-hmm.
amazing. To me, the book is absolutely incredible. I have to say, I really enjoy the book, and I have to say that the book for me is like, when you sometimes, how could I explain this? When you To me, it really makes more sense with Rocksteady.
I was just
It
about to
combined as a
say,
perfect package. The both
I'm
of them together.
I'm
Yeah,
getting the feedback I'm getting, and it doesn't surprise me because I built the program first and I wrote the book second.
yeah,
And so my clients who went through the Rocksteady program and did an awful lot of healing and indeed built their new normal, once they read the book, they were like, wow, this is what I did and this is my new normal. And so
mm,
for them, it's sort of like this big celebration and congratulations because they're sort of reading something they've felt and experienced, and
yeah,
and it's almost sort of beckons this sense of awe and congratulations. Whereas I think when people read the book first and haven't yet done the program, there can be almost a foreboding of, is it possible? Could I do it? It really lays it out there as a huge possibility and invitation, but then the work has to be done. Whereas I think
yeah,
for other people that do the program first and read the book second, they've done the work and they can sort of allow all the jigsaw piece puzzles to suddenly create that full picture where it's all there in one book.
yeah. Well, it's definitely a coming together. You're absolutely right. You have to do the work. You
Yeah,
can't just read,
yeah,
because there might be some benefit of just reading, but you've got to do the work. It's all about doing the work. And even now, I have to continue doing the work,
yeah,
and it's now spread into other areas of my life.
yeah.
Because I'm very aware now of how I feel emotionally, I think. should I be feeling like this?
Mm,
Is this right? Do I really want to feel like this? And I'll remember the jigsaw and things like that. The jigsaw, sorry, the
the seesaws.
seesaw. And I'll think to myself, right, okay, let's bring down the side that I don't want to feel. But also, for me, again, the most important thing that really worked for me has been not trying to heal anything.
Yeah,
And
that's
that has
wisdom.
really been the one for me.
Yeah.
Um, Not trying to run away when I do experience a buzz from time to time. Um, what I'll do is rather than trying to, uh, you know, distract myself from it, I
Hmm.
guess I'll actually just find somewhere and just sit and listen to it
Yeah,
and then
lovely.
absorb it for me and become at peace. Try and become one with the buzz in a way, because it's part of me. I'll try and
Mm-hmm,
smile.
mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to, I guess my body trying to go, oh, it's the buzz, it's okay, there's no issue, and it all just settles down.
And breathing.
Sometimes it can take a day to settle down, um, but it's not loud like it was anyway, so I can continue, you know, like
And
doing it.
it sounds to me that when life brings you those challenges, of which the buzz might be one, you've got the skills and tools and the skillfulness and the capacity and belief in yourself to really meet it
Yes,
with this
definitely.
sense of not being dismissive, not having to
Mm,
distract, avoid, push away, but you're also not being dramatic about it. It's like, okay, here it is. I can just pause. I can lean into this. I can dissolve into it. I have my toolbox. I've got many different things to try depending on the flavor of the moment.
yeah.
I'm resourced. I'm prepared. I'm okay. And I
Yes,
think,
but it's
and I,
thanks to you though.
but I think it's just really important for people to hear that yes, we may have many days, weeks, or months without many challenges and without any noise. But if and when it comes back, we're resourced, we're prepared. It's not a fluke. There's a methodology to it.
Yes,
We're really
absolutely.
we're meeting those challenges because we understand our physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual space that
Yeah.
we're living in and occupying. And you've done that work. And I think maybe we should clarify a little bit in your words. What is the work? Because it's like we can't just read a book and heal. It's not that simplistic. And we can't just buy a program and heal either. We have to sort of log
No.
in and go through the motions of discovery and self study. So if you feel comfortable,
Mhm.
do you want to share a little bit about what that insight process was? What were you learning? What was the work for you?
Um. Oh, I'll try. Again, it was the peace for
Mm,
me. Is I've realized that a lot of the time in my life, um, I felt that I'm not in touch at all with who I am. I'm not aware of who I am. I'm not responsible of sometimes my actions, words, feelings, um, um, and the work has been for me to really become close to myself
mm,
and be aware of who I am,
yeah,
and also flaws and all the
package.
whole of me, and absorb that, and not except fear
Mm,
is something I guess I've struggled with recently over years as well. I think it's just getting older as well, because when I was younger, always life's very long, and everything's great. Well, for me, and but as I started getting a bit older and children started to get older and things like that, my life started to change. I started getting fearful about the future. So I think for me that the work has been the processes is understanding that I have fear,
mm,
and and what do I do with this fear? Because this is what's been this has been crippling, and I've been trying to the whole rock steady process, the process of neuroplasticity generally that I've learned through you, has helped me understand myself and
yeah.
come to terms with who I am, flaws and all, and find peace. I've got peace in my life now that I
I,
never had before Rocksteady.
as I'm listening to you, and I do not say this lightly,
Mm.
you sound quite enlightened. That,
Oh, that'd be wonderful, but I'm certainly not. Yeah,
but
but I do feel.
I think it sounds like from that shared kind of common human relatable humanity.
Hmm,
So many of us today are afraid to talk about our fears, let alone
hmm,
meet them and greet them and be with them in a non dismissive way, but also in a compassionate way, and to befriend ourselves and to really
yeah.
be loving and spacious towards those fears. And you and I have done this and we can talk about it. But particularly for men in some cultures or in
Hmm,
many cultures, we're encouraged to perhaps not be weak or not talk about these vulnerabilities and fears. And it's so beautiful to hear you say it in such a frank and grounded way. And to follow it up with not I conquered them and I got through them, but I found my peace. Like how beautiful.
hmm.
So thank you
I
for.
did find. Oh, sure. I did find peace in another way to begin with that I should probably mention.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Actually, Rocksteady didn't just help me. Well, initially, your videos on YouTube didn't just help me with tinnitus. I discovered not a cure for tinnitus, but very quickly I discovered something that used to get rid of it, which wasn't good.
Mm. Mm.
I could literally have two beers, three beers, and tinnitus would go. It
Mm-hmm.
would
Mm-hmm.
disappear as long as the alcohol was, you know, doing its thing. So I started drinking a lot.
Yeah.
So that was another thing that happened initially that I should probably mention. And and then that's also when I realised that this is not good. This is the end. I can't continue. So I just now I'm drinking, just to get rid of the sound of tinnitus. This is I've got to just live with this now. And then and I realised I also couldn't live with it. So so really, it's a lot more than just
Mm.
like yourself and rock steady and the book and things like that. And it's kind of like it saved my life.
Well,
It's a big deal. I think
yeah.
sometimes we trivial. It's not. It feels like it's trivialized. We're talking about tinnitus and like it's just a buzz in your head or something like that. It's the whole like you talk about. It's our emotional response to it, and that emotional response was bleeding into other areas of my life, which
Yeah.
I was now. So it was messing my life up. I couldn't work.
Yeah. Yeah.
I build musical instruments. That's what I
Wow.
do, and
Wow.
I couldn't do it. I mean, I was tuning a harp, for instance. I remember when I first when I first got tinnitus, when I first heard my own tinnitus,
Yeah.
and um, and I remember I can't tune this instrument because I can't hear it. Tinnitus was so
I want to
bad.
I want to really validate this that for those of us with these elusive invisible symptoms, because it's also the similar story for chronic dizziness and chronic vertigo too. Like tinnitus, it can be very intrusive. It can impact our memory, our decision making. We can become overwhelmed and confused. Therefore, we don't feel like we can work at capacity or work at all. Drive cars, have relationships, so we can get relationship breakdowns, then support and community falls apart. Then, of course, it makes a great deal of sense to lean on alcohol or other maladaptive crutches that we're using as footholds just to help us keep it together. And I feel like really celebrating you, Billy, that you had the awareness that while alcohol might be a temporary foothold and a temporary support, it's not my long-term solution. And so you really put the time and effort into investing in something like the Rocksteady program to have that methodology and process to gently weave yourself back together and create this new normal where you're now a man who finds peace, who's met his fears and doesn't rely on alcohol. You created that.
Yeah, thank you. I still enjoy alcohol from time to time, of course, but I do not consume alcohol. I don't take anything or do anything to heal anything now,
Yeah.
as far as the sensations are concerned. Because I learned very quickly that this is what's for me. That was what was creating the sensations, and even now, I mean, there was one time I couldn't mention the word tinnitus. If I
Yeah.
heard anybody say tinnitus or tinnitus, I would freak out. And now
Mm-mm. That's the
I'm
big
trying.
emotional loading. That's the hatred, the annoyance, the fear, the agitation,
Yes,
or
Yeah.
even the feelings of shame and failure, like I should be able to fix it but I haven't figured it out yet, what's wrong
Mm,
with me? And then we can spiral into what I call shame spirals, or this feeling of brokenness, that there's something inherently wrong with me and I need to fix myself, I need to heal. We fall into that space, and that's often when we start Rocksteady. And
mm.
I absolutely hear what you're saying, that I think once we go through the Rocksteady modules and the path and we start to understand ourselves and come back to our wholeness, and that's what the body scan's guiding us through, all the various different types of them,
Mm.
the mental, emotional, spiritual work, is I think we will naturally get to this place of realizing, oh, there was never anything to heal and I was never broken. But it took me
That's how I'm feeling
all
now.
of that work to
Mm.
actually believe that. Because otherwise,
Yes.
I mean, if it was easy to believe, I can say it now and listeners will just get it, bang, oh,
And it'd
done.
all be fixed and everybody be fixed.
But
Ah.
it's not that simple. We have to
No,
go
no, no.
through all the
Yeah.
layers of rubbish and all the myths and beliefs that have got us
Mm.
to that place of thinking we're broken in the first place. So some of it's political, economical, social context,
Yes.
stereotypes, agendas, all of the fear in the world around us that's shaping us and shaping our expectations of ourselves, which are often critical and high, rather
Yes.
than sort of coming down to earth and being all muddy and dirty and grounded and
Mm.
realizing, well, here I am. This is how I am. This is who I am in authenticity. And am I willing to love myself as I am, to like myself as I am, to be with
Mm.
myself as, to support myself as I am? Am I willing to go there? And something changes in that process of sort of what I would almost call grounding.
Yes, absolutely.
And I feel
I mean,
like
I
you're,
used to, I couldn't even walk in the woods,
mm,
for instance, because I live right next to a lovely wood. And when I used to go out into the wood, I couldn't be in silence, even outside silence,
yeah,
but now it's absolutely wonderful.
yeah,
Even if I do have a little buzz from time to time, it's wonderful. It
yeah.
doesn't interfere with my walk in the woods. It doesn't interfere with many things.
I almost,
And
I almost get a feeling with you that now when you hear the buzz, it reminds you of how far you've come, because
it does.
the contrast to
Yeah.
that little sort of innocuous buzz is sort of nothing, if not on the pleasanter side of things, compared to the distressing, intrusive
Yes. Mm.
horrificness of the way
Mm.
it was
Oh, yeah.
before you went through this process.
Yeah. And I'm great. In many ways, I'm grateful for it.
Mm.
I know that sounds a bit, ooh, but
It's really common. It's really common for people to see the gift in it once they've gone through the mud.
it's changed my life.
Yeah.
I don't feel the same because I realized I was spiraling out of control in a way. I was working a lot. I was really caught up with building these particular instruments, and they had to be just right and things like that. And I was
Mm.
really overworking. That's
Mm.
what I feel happened at that time as well. Okay, I did have a bump in the head, but the thing is, I didn't have tinnitus right away after the bump in the head. But what I did, I reacted very poorly to
Mm.
the bump in the head, and the doctor said I had a very mild concussion, but I acted like it was a huge deal. I
Yeah.
really blew it up into this massive thing, and eventually it became
Enter the drama. And often
yeah,
we
I had big drama. Yes.
often we start from a dramatic place, and I get that. I've
Mm.
been there, and every now and then I'll get tastes of drama again, and I've got the skills and tools to bring it right back down and ground again.
Yes,
And I think
that's
that's
exactly what I've been doing.
And I think that's the whole point. So we spoke about having COVID, and like anyone else, we
Mm.
get COVID. The family gets COVID. We've got the Rocksteady toolkit.
Mm.
We
Yeah.
have economic hardship or political struggles. We've got the Rocksteady toolkit. And you might think, what's that got to do with it? Well, we're swimming and living in a world where we're all interconnected and interdependent, and our nervous systems are bouncing off each other. And the
Yeah.
Rocksteady Toolkit, the program, gives us the capacity, if we choose, to become the master of our own nervous system. So we can self regulate, we can upregulate, we can downregulate, we can really nurture and support ourselves regardless of the situation, because we've got this sort of inner ecosystem that we're heavily monitoring and influencing, which,
Mm.
that's why I say it gives us our control back, because what we can control, we do control.
Yeah. And what we can't control, let go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
surrender,
We
let
have to
go, allow.
allow. Yeah.
Um,
That's wonderful. I mean, I can't thank you enough, Joey. Really. I mean, I often say Sarah, my wife, they think she'll quite often say, you know, if I maybe find myself getting upset about something, she'll say, "What would Joey say?" You know, really, it's crazy, isn't it? But it's a bit like that now. So because it's just I can't honestly I cannot words don't really make matter here because I can't express through words how
Mm.
life changing it's been for me, and that's great, isn't it?
Thank you for being here and giving us your time because I think your time
No,
demonstrates a lot of your gratitude, and I really appreciate um, you being courageous enough to share your story. It means a lot to me and my community.
oh, thank you. That's amazing.
One last question. Did you have any particular module that stuck out or any particular something from a live call? Like, did you hear someone speak and just really drop in and relate to that? Did you have any particular community moments in the Rocksteady process where you felt connection or you felt some kind of heartstrings pulled?
All the time. I had a bit of. I found myself. It was the whole package. Like I used to, I don't know if I even used Rocksteady properly. I went through it, then I would find myself going back to it constantly
Mm-hmm.
and dropping in all the time. Like for
Mm-hmm.
instance, when I was having issues, um, I discovered very quickly that's sometimes when I'd stay away from it,
Mm.
which was quite strange initially to begin because to begin with I thought, right, okay, I don't want to be healing. I don't
Mm.
want to be getting rid of. So
Mm.
I used to find myself being absorbed with Rocksteady when I went quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Then I would spend a lot of time going through the modules when I was in the peaceful mode, so I could make sense of when I was buzzing, for
Mm-hmm.
instance.
Mm-hmm.
And rather than like say being having a body scan, I wouldn't have a body scan. It would be an all-day body scan, for
Mm.
instance. I started, just being very aware of my body all the time,
Perfect.
and yeah, but I
Enlightenment, I
didn't.
tell you. Enlightenment.
Oh, that would be lovely. That really would be nice. But I'm afraid I'm very far away. But no, really, I found that I used it, and I'm actually about to start it again. This
Yeah,
is the thing because I realized
lovely.
it's been quite some time now, and I thought, this is something I need to. I think it's something I'll need to do now for the rest of my life. It's not just something. Also, I think that you can just do and go, yeah, that's great. I've had the pill. I'm cured. I think now that it's something that will be with me now for the rest of my days.
Mm-mm-mm.
Something I will. As I said, I dip in and
Yeah.
come out. I dip in and come out.
And
That's really.
for those of you listening, it's not about me and it's not about the Rocksteady process actually what we're referring to here. I think it's the time and space and the guided methodology of checking in and sort of going, how am I? It's been a month or two and I haven't really checked in. What's
Mm,
going on for me mentally, emotionally, spiritually? The Rocksteady program has that space, has that container, has that guidance, has the prompts, has the reminder of the tools to use to help us check in and pause. And that I think
yeah.
is a lifelong process. It's rich, it's so insightful, it's heartwarming, it's beautiful, it's softening, it's tenderizing. And the invitation is there to keep going back. Because every time we go
Yes.
back to module one, or even every time we do any body scan, it's totally new because I'm a new
Mm,
person in that moment. So,
yeah.
and it doesn't matter if it's sitting, standing, lying, or in any of the various um, positions that we explore in Rocksteady. There's always something new and rich to feel through
Mm,
and to help us contact the desired qualities or sensations that we're working toward in that given moment. So I think that's what we're referring to. It's not that we're just going back to like a video game or a structured process or a cookie cutter rock steady this. It's actually we're going back into a big mystery and there's a
mm.
little bit of guidance of how to go into that mystery. And that to me is sort of what the Rocksteady program is facilitating.
I used to feel sometimes that I would just go into it and feel great. Do nothing because just the process of me actually opening it up
Yeah.
and going in and playing about for a little while, that was fine. That was all I needed. Sometimes it just brought it, I remembered. It
Yeah.
helped me remember, and that's what I need now. I feel at that stage I need, and that's why the book's been marvelous because I've got it in my Bluetooth when I'm in my car. Sometimes I'll pop it on and I'll just be driving into poetry or
Mm.
something, and and I'll I'll just I remember.
Yeah,
I
and
remember.
I think you're spot on. The book and the program are very complementary, and they work hand in hand together.
Oh, for sure. But as I say, I'm about to start the course again, but this time I'm actually going to go through it in a different way.
Mhm.
I'm going to try and because I was quite quick.
Mhm.
I was very quick first time because I was just feeling like I had to rush through to get to the end to heal,
Mhm. Yep.
as if it was like a pill or something. It was
Yeah.
almost like finish the course and healed. Yay! It's certainly not like that. And then what would happen was I would go back in and start to do the work.
Yep.
And it was
Yep.
actually by going back in, and sometimes in all different orders. I have to say, I was
Perfect.
all over the
Perfect.
place.
And
And yeah,
it is designed so that you can choose to use the Facebook group or not. You can choose to participate in live group calls or not. You can choose to do them in order, module 1 followed by 2 followed by 3. Or you
yeah,
can mix it up a little bit. Some people sit on each module for 1 or 2 months and they go very
mm,
slowly, which means
right,
they take a full year to complete all 6 modules. I actually know people who have bought the program and never logged in or just logged in briefly, but they were so anxious about their symptoms, and this was a vertigo client,
mm,
that I think they had spontaneous remission, so the vertigo kind of wasn't bothering them, but there was a lot of psychological comfort in knowing they could log in and use it if they ever had the vertigo come back. And
yes,
I remember saying to that person, that's definitely not the way I designed the program, but if that works for you, then that's offering psychological comfort. So different
mm,
people use the program in different ways. Some people try everything. Other
mm,
people have a very intuitive sense of, no, that doesn't feel right. I'm going to go here. I'll repeat that one. And I
yeah,
really want you to have that sense of agency and choice and power to say, this is my program. I'm choosing how I use it today, tomorrow, every day, because it's very invitational. And the other thing is our community is global. So we're coming from different cultural spaces, and we've got different diagnoses, we've got different age brackets. I'm assuming a non-binary space with so lots of different um, gender, sexual orientation, all of that. And I think honoring our differences yet sharing a shared common humanity is the sweet spot. We're allowed to be different, and we're also allowed to have a common sense of feeling of loss, feeling of difficulty, feeling of not being understood, feeling of challenge, feeling of self-doubt, and really deeply, deeply questioning if I'm strong enough to get through this. We share so much, and we share a lot
oh,
of
we
the
do.
healing. So it really is a very rich community. So for those of you listening who are interested, I invite you to visit my website, take a look, and start fishing around the Facebook group where you can meet some other people, learn stories, get inspired, and if it feels right for you, get started with Module 1 and join us.
That's for sure.
Did you have any last things you wanted to say, Billy?
Just thanks again. I mean,
Yeah.
an absolute pleasure. To speak to you in person as well. Amazing, amazing. Thank you.
It's such a pleasure. It's been very nice to meet you too, Billy. I hope I get to, well, I might touch base with you again. You never know if it's on a live call or some other kind of rock steady group. But thanks for your time. It's wonderful to have another case study. And millions of folks suffering with tinnitus out there who are so curious to hear from people who have gotten through it. And it's not random, it's not a miracle, it's a methodology.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah,
It really is, and I mean, I've probably said too much already now, but like I said, it's moved into other areas of my life now. It's
yeah.
not just, and it's been through tinnitus. What can I say? I mean, it's just, it's a must.
It's a
Do it,
must.
guys.
Yeah. Well, if it's feeling in resonance, I really hope people come along. And on that note, we have a all inclusive, welcoming community for those of you calling in from financial duress, from countries with political instability, economic instability, um, single parenting, all of these challenges that I know are incredibly challenging from a financial perspective. Get in touch with us. We have a very generous Rocksteady scholarship program for those of you around the world who simply cannot afford the Australian dollar or um, we have scholarships that are pay what you can. So whatever you can afford, we try and make this accessible for you. We do make it accessible for you. So get in touch. So on that note, thank you, Billy.
Well, thank you, Joey.
And visit seekingbalance.com.au to join our community to try the full Rocksteady program and really go so much further than what a book is capable of offering. And the invitation would be to go through the program, to meet yourself, to find that sense of peace that Billy shared, and then maybe read the book again. Then I think the book really lands in a new embodied experiential sense.
For sure.
Beautiful. So bye for now.
Bye.